Hello everybody, and welcome back to another video. Today we are going over a confirmed candidate versus the incumbent president of the United States, Donald Trump. And that confirmed candidate in this case is Julian Castro. Julian Castro was the former mayor of San Antonio, Texas. He has grassroots people, in a sense, in Texas. We'll see how that plays out. He has a strong Latino appeal. He came basically from rags to success. Um, so pretty much, he could be a very decent candidate, at the very least, for the Democrats. But without further ado, let's get this started. So I filled in all the states that I usually have, well, states and districts that I usually have leaning, likely one way or another. But Nevada, in this case, would be likely Democratic because of a strong Latino turnout. And Maine, second, would also be likely Republican. One thing I definitely want to point out, Julian Castro doesn't have as much of a Midwestern appeal um, as many other candidates who could run for the Democrats, but he definitely has a strong Latino appeal. That's why I moved Nevada over to the likely. Arizona, Texas, Florida, all of those would be very, very close because of the strong Latino appeal. Um, Now, leaning Republican, Ohio, Iowa, North Carolina, and Georgia, all of them, I don't really. Iowa, as the exception, I don't really see much of a chance for any of them to really break away at all from the Republican Party in 2020. Minnesota, sticking with its Democratic roots, despite the fact they don't have a presidential candidate who necessarily has a strong turnout and appeal. However, that doesn't stop him from keeping up the Democratic trend in Minnesota. New Hampshire also stays Democratic from 2016. It was a small margin. New Hampshire was a close one to call for me, but in the end, I think ultimately it would go to the Democrats. Now we have three main Rust Belt states and three southern states. Um, High Latino populations in all of these states, low Latino population, and all all six of these states went for Trump in 2016. First off, I think Pennsylvania would go for President Trump again. It comes down to Western PA versus Eastern PA in a sense. I think that if Trump could get turnout in Pennsylvania and a little bit of a better approval rating, not even by a ton, but a little bit, and especially Castro isn't the most well liked person, so I can imagine that Pennsylvania could stick with Trump because of his economics. By the way, all of this is saying the economy will stay the same. If the economy crashes, Castro would win by about 50, at least. Um, Also going in the Trump column, we have the state of Michigan. Basically the same reasons I listed for Pennsylvania. Um, so let's move on. Arizona, in my mind, would go for Julian Castro. Um, the Senate race in 2018 is a pretty bad sign for Republicans in Arizona, as even with a Green Party candidate who draws way more from the left than they do the right, Martha McSally still lost by over a full percentage. That should scare Republicans. They can't just throw away Arizona. I will also go with Wisconsin, sticking with Trump. All three Rust Belt states that Trump won in 2016 sticks with him for another go round. Um, and yeah, I already kind of talked about it. Florida, I think, would stick with Trump. Right now, Florida has a positive approval rating of the president. Latinos in Florida vote more Republican than the average Latino. Um, I'm not trying to generalize them, but more often than not, they vote more Democratic than Republican by pretty good margin. In Florida, it's pretty close. And that alone could keep that and the older white people who come to live in Florida pretty much are helping make it a more Republican state. I'd like to remind you all that both senators and the governor, and I think either the state house or the state senate, if not both, are Republican. This kind of shows what trend Florida's going in, and it's not too incredibly good for the Democrats. Now that just leaves Texas. Texas is a very large state, has a lot of electoral votes. Ultimately, with the strong Latino appeal and with his grassroots ability in Texas, I would give it to Julian Castro. Texas was the toughest one to call, probably, but with a lot of things, it just feels like a lot of factors would be on Julian Castro's side. Florida, I could see going either way. Wisconsin, Michigan could go either way. Texas, go either way. Arizona, I think, would probably go Democratic. But that's just my thoughts. What do you think? Don't forget to comment down below what you think. Tell me what you think. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also, join us on the subreddit at r/JPC Reddit. I will see you all later.